Welcome to Empowered. Before we kick off, I'd like to acknowledge and pay our respect to the past, present and future traditional custodians and the elders of this nation, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I'd also like to further acknowledge the land on which we are recording today, which is the Turrbal and Yugara peoples. Welcome to Empowered, as I said. We all have a story to tell, and we all have a story that we need to hear. Your story will save a soul and make them shine, and for this reason, Empowered was born. Be it your career success, a fitness achievement, finding your personal balance with that elusive work-life balance, selling a business you started from scratch and the struggles that you had along the way. I can guarantee that there is a queen right now who is struggling to stay above water and they need to hear your story. If you had the cure to cancer, you would share it. And your cure is the story that you hold, and then your story is the cure that we share. So welcome to Empowered. Today's queen and their story is the one and only royalty. She's like the queen of women in technology and the queen in IT, Sonja Bernhardt OAM. Thank you so much for being here.
What an absolute delight. What an intro. Love you. Love you.
Love you, love you, love you too. Thank you, Sonja. I actually was thinking back before about my first time meeting you, and it was with thanks to another kick-ass queen, Beck Langdon. So Beck is, what's her role now for women in technology? Or has she stepped aside?
She has stepped aside, but she held the organisation. She was amazing. The glue.
Yeah, she was.
She's the connector. She's the glue. She's the brilliance.
And she's always had that attitude. But Beck and I she was actually a client of mine in another life. But it was one of those things, she was actually more a friend than a client. And we helped each other. And I don't even know if I've specifically mentioned that to her, but so many things she's helped me along the way. And Beck's one of those people that she walks in the room and she just, without realising it, she just commands respect. And she actually, I felt like I was a celebrity the day that she messaged me out of the blue, the day of Women in Technology's annual amazing ball, an event, an awards day last year, I think it was.
Yep, 21.
Yeah, and I thought, oh my goodness. And I just thought I'd be going along and there was one spare seat in the thousands of people there. And here I am sat at the VIP table next to Beck and next to you. And I was
right
like,
front.
Pinch me moment. It was insane. And of course, you and I just hit it off straight away. Babble, babble, babble. When I've been explaining you coming in, I've explained obviously your credentials and who you are and the queen you are, but also to a little disclaimer that you're mad as a cut snake like me, and this will be dangerous because we could be talking for hours. But yes, with that wonderful introduction, as I said, thank you, Sonja, for being here. You're amazing. Do you take a moment to ever sit in that space of going, holy crap, I've done a lot and I know I am amazing? Or do you have...
Unfortunately, in life, you have to wait till you're retired to take that moment.
Okay.
So the short answer to that is, when things like when you apply for awards, that's your moment.
Yeah.
When you can stop and you can reflect because
goosebumps, right?
Yeah. Well, our lives are so busy and we're packed and we're full of all sorts of things, and it's when you do something like that. That you think, I don't have time to enter this award.
And you bloody well should, hey?
And you absolutely should. In fact, there's tip number one.
Oh, okay, righto. Hot tip, quick, everyone write that down.
Yeah, because entering awards is that way to take that moment about not only your work, but your life, your journey,
and that recognition.
Yep.
I love that. I am going to take a few TLDR notes along the way, and that's a really good hot tip. That's a beautiful self-reflection space that we probably all need to do. And isn't it one of those things, I mentioned in some of my introductions that I've got the confidence of pink. I have a daughter, Willow, so she thinks I am pink, and I had a mullet for a long time, and I know I met you with that. But even Pink shares her struggles of that imposter syndrome. There was a beautiful video where she said, like, am I full enough of enough confidence that I actually think that I should make another album, that people should want to listen to me? And it's like,
wow.
We look at her as the epitome of fabulousness, and even she has those imposter syndromes and not thinking she's good enough. We should be applying for those awards. We should be putting applications, because it's almost like, oh, who do I think I am, putting my name forward? You bloody well do, and you're bloody amazing.
You know what? that to me triggers so much about that whole thing about success.
Yeah.
And the thing that I have found with success, you introduced me with all of the, and if I had imposter syndrome, and we probably all have little bits.
Of course we do.
But if I had it, I would have really wondered about that. But here's my story about success.
Yeah, I'm leaning in.
Don't measure your success based on not only other people, but what other people think is success.
Oh, that assumption, isn't it? Horrendous.
It is.
Yeah.
It's terrible. People judge, a designer handbag means you're successful. Oh, I drove up here today in a Tesla. Well, actually I did.
Oh, good on you. But, You'll fit in around here.
It's just an easy to drive car.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not the success. To me, it took a long time, and I love this podcast because it's a way for other people to know. Don't take all that time.
Thank you.
Measure yourself, understand yourself, and what to you is success.
Exactly.
Look at technology. So many people in technology are fantastic in something that they do. Then they get promoted to management because that's the classic successful
And it's not always
career.
the right trajectory for people, right?
Exactly.
Longevity doesn't mean that you're automatically a manager.
That's right. And those people aren't happy. Not generically. I mean, generically they're not happy. And many more of them would prefer just to keep doing the real tech, the real hands-on, the stuff that they love. And to me, my measure of success is happy.
Oh, amen. That's what I say to my kids all the time. I don't care what you want to do. And I'm not going to say which university you're going to, where do you want to be. You'll never hear me say, what do you want to be? But I do say, when you're older, all I want you to be is happy.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people do struggle with that, but it's actually a simple thing.
Because if you can be happy and make that the construct of what you do in life, that's your baseline. Happiness is something that is hard to achieve, but also not so hard if you don't. That piece that you mentioned is so vital because throughout the years, Chris and I have fluctuated in wealth and success, that elusive success. And I have to admit, probably about 15 years ago, I got caught up in this comparisonitis of I'm not there, that person is there, and I need to go that direction to chase their success. Well, hang on a minute. No. Success, Chris and I are tremendously successful. And you know why? We're happily married.
Yeah.
I'm in love with him every day. Some days I don't bloody like him.
Yeah.
But we come back to that baseline of love. We have 2 healthy children. We have adult money. We have a beautiful, look around us. We're here at this beautiful business, Red, that we love every day.
Yep.
We're successful. But to another person, it might be that they've, being able to quit their job and look after their elderly parent or success is your own, hey?
Exactly. And that's the message. So, and to know what is your own, you have to know yourself.
Oh.
So you've got to stop and think and actually take that time then to think about yourself. And, I learned so much when I did that because, like you, I have a personality and some people react to that personality in certain ways that's actually not who I really am.
Yeah, I know.
So it took me
Did you dilute yourself over the years?
Oh, look, I originally started and then it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It's so hard to fake it, isn't it? Because it's sitting on the surface and it feels like you're just about to explode.
Exactly. And I actually got into trouble a few times in my corporate career.
Oh, girlfriend, we are twin flames. I'm a walking litigation suit.
Yeah. I remember once I was a support call person at a major company in Queensland and they had their conference and one person, I was on a panel in the conference and somebody in the front row of the conference asked a few questions and I could tell from the voice that it was somebody that I'd spent a lot of time on the phone with in support. So as soon as that finished, I ran off the stage and I went to the person.
I can just picture it.
Introduced them. Wow, so glad to actually meet. My boss told me off for showing emotion and being so loud and joyful.
Oh, my goodness.
And I learn't so much from that.
And don't you wish you could go back to that space and go, nah. I had a business partner in the past, will remain nameless. I will continue to love that person, but unfortunately they would never realised the horrendous words that they tore me apart. My laugh was too much.
Yeah.
I wore too bright clothing.
You're too loud.
I'm too loud. You should not hug customers.
You have too many opinions.
Right? Bullshit is what I say to that.
Yeah.
That is who I am, and I'll never apologise or change who I am ever again, because guess what? So many more people are attracted to this and they want to emulate that. They want to be able to have that confidence. And why should we depress that when people are striving to be that? So I know you're looking for a quote there.
I am. There's an awesomely good quote there.
I love that you've brought quotes.
Yeah, and there's two here. There's one extremely relevant to that, and it's basically about do not compromise. You know, only you are you. And don't compromise yourself.
Good.
So that toning down and all of that is actually compromising yourself.
Right.
And that whole comment that we had before about being you and being happy, it's the world needs to get used to understanding that people are individuals. Everybody has a different style.
Exactly. And we can mould, you know, like I'm very respectful, as you know, in technology. No, there's no such thing as normal, and everyone is neurodivergent because we couldn't do what we do every day without our beautiful brains. And I respect that some people like the loudness and others don't. So we've got to be respectful, but I'm not going to change who I am. I come back to the baseline of being Emma. So, yeah, have you found that over your career as well?
Oh, look, I basically came out of the box just being me. I was probably one of the original people who, you know, people talk about, oh, be authentic. And I think I've always been authentic, but I've always had a bit of bravery in me as well.
It takes courage to step into that.
It takes courage and bravery. And I know from a business perspective, I've lost some business deals.
Really?
Because,
tell me about that.
Oh, goodness.
Is there any that spring to mind?
Oh, there's a few.
Okay. We don't have to name names or get too specific, but I'd love to high level understand that.
Okay, some of my authenticness is that whole support for women in technology.
And thank you for that piece that you did. I can't thank you enough. Yeah. 25 years, women in technology, and day one of 25 years ago, holy moly. We'll unpack that in a minute, but continue that.
And so part of that and part of who I am is I actually went completely against the normal thread and almost 100% of my company were female.
Wow.
The lowest we ever got was 85% female. And I'm talking
I'm goosebumps
full techie
right now.
roles, coders, analysts. You know,
how long ago was that?
Well, I only sold the business 2 and a bit years ago. But when recent, I started that, we're talking about since 1999.
Wow.
So that was very early.
That's unheard of back then, girl.
Yeah. So how that failed me sometimes by daring to be so authentic and supportive of my own philosophy was, and if I was American and I was into suing, there's some companies that I could really go back on because I got feedback when we were so based on tenders and all of that, you're doing great, this is it. And then when we do the demo and all women turn up,
no,
I've had feedback that have said there were no men in your team.
Oh.
So
I don't get angry often, but boy oh boy.
Hang on, it gets worse.
Oh no. Do we need a stiff drink?
The women didn't even have corporate hairstyles.
What?
They were legitimate reasons I've been given for not winning. And one of those deals was a $500,000 deal. And the only reason we were given was because there were no men. So next time I went to, I brought my husband along.
Oh, here, quick. Oh my goodness, token male.
Yeah.
What? How do you combat that feedback? Because I'd take that pretty damn personally, and I'd be pretty.
Yep. Okay, and that's a great question to ask because it hits hard because it's actually hitting the core of who you are and what you believe.
Your philosophy, like you said, yeah.
Exactly. So it does hit hard, but then when you understand yourself and you know that's your core, you hold to. If you waver and quiver and give in to your core, you're compromising. And I remember who made that quote now. That was Janis Joplin. So you'd love that.
Legend. Yes,
I
absolutely.
know. She'd love it. Her exact words were, don't compromise yourself. You are all that you've got.
That's powerful. And what a woman Janis was, hey?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, imagine her now in 2022. Like, the gift that she's been in, the courageousness and the confidence and obviously her music. But, yeah, wow. Yeah. I just looked down and it's 11:11. I have a spooky thing for 11s. Things always happen at right the moment, right at the time. And I look down and there we go. I'm listening to Janis Joplin today for sure. That's awesome.
And so how I cope with it was that's a bummer.
Right.
And I didn't want that to happen, and it's unfair. But I'm also not a litigious person, so I didn't do anything about that.
In hindsight, do you think you should have?
Well, actually...
Almost to prove them a point. Like, no, you can't. That's...
Well, one other time, and it wasn't feedback like that, it was something else that had happened. And all these things can happen, especially when you're an entrepreneur and running your own business, and it's so meaningful. We'd actually... and the message out of this story is a deal is not a deal until the money is in the bank.
Sonja, thank you. We have an amazing sales department here, and even like the customer success managers who win deals as well. They come back, and I know the peaks and troughs of the sales, pipeline. It's exciting and revel in that moment, but I keep saying to them, don't you dare celebrate until that ink is dry. And even, you're right.
And the money hits the bank.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's, don't take it a verbal as a yes. It's got to be signed, sealed and delivered. So, and celebrate when you've replaced that with the next sale. I'm a big believer in that, because otherwise you get caught up in this exciting time and then miss opportunities, and you've got to keep that pipeline humming. Yeah. But, well
I
said.
agree, because what happened with that one was... We got the verbals. We even got an email that said, "Success! You've won this." And we'd been back and forth and demoed a number of times.
And you felt
it
confident
was really
this
important.
was happening.
It was great. In came a new CEO.
Oh, boom!
And the first thing the CEO did was
change.
Canned all deals. I did go to my lawyer then.
Okay.
Because that's another tip. Look, even when you're new and you're small and you don't think you need a lawyer or an accountant,
back yourself.
Get them.
Yeah.
That's so important to have, because I didn't at first.
Yeah.
But then when I eventually did, it helps with contracts and understanding everything. So I did go to my lawyer, female lawyer, because I always did that as well.
I made sure. That's important.
Yep. And her advice was so meaningful. She basically said to me, I know that was a lot of potential money, but what did it actually mean for you?
That's right. And the thing there too, and thank you for sharing that, like that's really important. And I know with that imposter syndrome in mind and just the confidence that women need to have to be heard anywhere. And I think our days are teetering off. Like it's always going to be there, right? And I think that's probably why I go the other end of extreme confidence, and my voice is important, and I have an opinion and knowledge that is vital to this conversation. But I think also too, like we have that imposter syndrome to think, is my voice good enough? Is it, or should I change my opinion? And that piece there about being all female, that's important to you. Yes. You can't then change the course of your business or the path or the way you do business for one opinion, or for one person, or for one guy. Like, you've got to stand in your space and know your space and own it and rock it, because otherwise every deal that you come up across or every person you meet, you're going to change, and that's exhausting and that's fake.
Integrity is so important, and that integrity you get from all of those things that we've just been talking about. Know yourself, have your philosophy, understand what your measures of success are. Yep. And sure, you're not happy when you lose out of a deal because you've stuck with your integrity.
But isn't that a better feeling than going, okay, we'll change for you?
Yeah. You can't wishy-wash because people will know that you are inconsistent.
Right, and that, But the other thing too, and I'm sure that there's a queen watching this right now who might be, in a corporate role or in a job. It's not about being self-employed or that entrepreneurial big business empire. You can take that advice there and apply it to anything. It's it's so moldable to that concept that just be you and be okay being you. In my introduction, I sort of talk about a late in life ADHD diagnosis, and I had to relearn myself and put new tools in the toolbox because what worked prior doesn't work now. But I refuse to apologise for being who I am now, because that's also what people emulate, is they want to be, they think I'm so courageous and this, that and the other. It's taken all those kickbacks, all those knockbacks to be here who we are, and I'll never apologise and I'll never change.
And let me take that into another extension of the things that we were talking about. I was a single mum for so long, and all the things that can happen to you I was a single mum of 2 children.
Wow.
And all the things that can happen to you during that time, all of those feelings of guilt and concern and worry and, not adequate amount
and
of money.
And the juggle?
Yep.
Like you're trying to build this baby while you've got 2 babies at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where knowing those things we were talking about come in even more
That's so
important.
good. So tell me about that mummy juggle. Can you take me back time-wise and where the business was, or, because I know you've told me before that you had little bambinos underneath the desk. I did too. We didn't have maternity leave. We just kept going. Yeah. In hindsight, I really think I should have stopped because I ended up with really bad postnatal depression. But again, it's a tool in my toolbox. But yeah, tell me about your journey with the motherhood juggle of single motherhood. That's insane, girlfriend. Well done. And the age and maturity of the business as well. Can you tell me about that journey?
Yep. Okay. Well, I was a single mum working in a corporate.
Right.
And I got sacked.
Oh, why'd you get sacked?
So, corporate reorganisation. Oh, sorry, I wasn't sacked. My position was made redundant.
Okie dokie. Okay.
Yeah. It was a corporate reorganisation.
Yeah.
So that happened, and I'd been living a big corporate life, flying around everywhere, even overseas, and all sorts of stuff. And, I'd had so much juggling along that line. But then suddenly, bang, I was out. However, because I am who I am and I accept who I am, I only cried for like half a day.
Wow, Sonja.
Not forever. And I thought, right, I've got 2 lives dependent on me, as well as my own life.
You're right.
I can't sink down into sorrow or whatever. So I lifted myself up. I went straight out to a networking event. I bravely told people, I've lost my job, I'm looking for work. I got 3 offers that same day.
Bazinga, that's awesome.
Yeah, but in the end I decided, I'll just set up my own business.
Well, if you're at rock bottom anyway, you may as well give it a go, hey?
Yeah, that's right. And it turned out 2 of those offers I got that day allowed me to then contract into them.
See?
So it was awesome.
Our juggle becomes something in the future, but at the time it's really shit, hey?
Yeah.
Like it's hard.
Yeah.
So that's really cool I'm sorry that you went through that, but it's really cool to hear that, as I said, rock bottom moment became something beautiful. So you went from that corporate lifestyle with 2 little ones, single mum, and then started what business? Was that the one you've just sold?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the one I just sold was the software arm within the larger company. So that I started the company Thoughtware then. Okay. And just on that point, that's absolutely what it is.
Okay.
Unexpected bad news is not necessarily bad news.
It is at the moment. The moment you receive it, it's hard and it's tough. Yep. But then it allows you just to do something else, right? And it's the ones who stay in that hardship and you've got to just get up, just put one foot in front of the other and talk to that one person. Just do that one thing. Don't try and overcome too much. Just get to tomorrow. Yep. And I promise you it'll get better.
Yep. In fact, I've got a quote.
Another quote. Go, Sonja. This is Sonja's special.
Yeah, it's American, but a female, of course. So Martha Washington, and this faces what we're just talking about. She said, the greater part of our happiness or misery, is this going to kill me or, will I get happier, improved out of it? It depends on our dispositions and not our circumstances.
Oh, wow. That's
How
good.
good's that quote?
That is so good. You're going to have to leave me with a copy of these. This is so good. Well done. You've clearly done your research as well. I love how how prepared you are for today. I did warn you, though, that it might just be a babble, and we're certainly going on that. But I just want to unpack so much with you. So share with me, I understand that you had multi-tiers to your business. So tell me about the business itself. Tell me more.
Okay, all right. So I originally started in consulting because it was just me. Yep. So I was out doing consulting. That's what we all do,
I think, when we start out.
Right. You can. Then I thought, the business kind of grew a little bit, so I needed to hire extra people. Then I realised I can't just completely rely on other people doing consulting as a business. You
can't grow, can you? Because there's only one of you.
And people are your biggest cost in a business as well. They're the biggest value, but they're also your biggest cost.
Yes, ding, ding.
So I needed a product. So then I went out and researched what software to develop. I cut that big long story short. And
seems easy now that you just trim it like that. I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So many lessons. Do another
exactly.
podcast on just that. So then I ended up developing business that started in a different sector to the one that it ended up being taking off in. So the software is governance, risk management, compliance software.
Yep.
And studying
still used now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Oh well, now
Yeah.
it's in the aged care sector, which is
Boom.
in there.
Yeah, it is. That's a whole, again, and that's another podcast.
Yeah, and in fact, that's another lesson too, because unexpected external environmental things can impact what's happening to your business. Like when the federal government in Australia did a royal commission into aged care and it focused on risk and governance, the fact that we'd already been around struggling.
Hello, we've been here,
but we had a proven governance, risk management, compliance software suddenly meant sales and interest went through the
now you're
roof.
interested.
We'd been doing everything we possibly could in marketing, and then suddenly this external thing we had nothing whatsoever to do with put a focus on. And
so did you sell before COVID or around?
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sold the 20th of February 2020.
Wow.
So just before it became, COVID had obviously just started,
March,
but it was only a little bit, but it was March.
We thought it was going to be
Australia.
nothing. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
wow.
It was March when it was.
And do you miss the fast times? Do you miss the pace?
Now that's going to have to be another one about retirement, because in actual fact, I probably all businesses are busy, but being in tech,
it doesn't sleep.
Busy, and your brain is just functioning, and your interests. And there's so much that I basically did go from every day busy to nothing. Yeah, it coincided with COVID, so I kind of had a double whammy
lockdown.
Yeah, and it took me over 2 years to even come to terms with the fact that I was retired.
Would you go back and do something again?
Yes.
Do you want a job here?
Yeah. I'll invest.
Yeah, good. Well, that's next up. So, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really courageous to say that, because that would be a struggle. I think your brain's very much like mine, and we don't sit idly. Yeah. I work best when I am busy, and Chris and I from day one have constantly been working towards the day that we retire, but recently we've pivoted and said I actually don't think that would be healthy for my brain. Do different things, and of course with the World Wide Web we can do anything, even if it's an e-commerce or something that we just, he will fade if he switches. Like, although we are working stupid hours at the moment, we've got a bit of a baseline of neutral balance. But it's a scary thought, and thank you for identifying that, because it's that elusive dream of being retired. And don't get me wrong, some would love that. Some would love to just do nothing, but I don't think it's in you and I.
I've been thinking a lot about it, of course.
Yes.
And to me, I think retirement is an industrial age concept.
Wow.
Of when we did this, and then, you worked in one job or whatever for until you're 50 or something, and then you retired, and then you only had a small period of time to live. We're in a different era.
Yeah. And like Benjamin Button, we should be doing it backwards, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome?
There's a Mercedes-Benz ad that they did beautifully where the same thing, like you're old and then you grow into a child, because it's right. Like I talked before about, thank God we have adult money, and it's a thing that I teach our kids is work your butt off and go without a little bit. I mean, don't forsake life, and still have friends and do things, but have a little sacrifice and work hard a little bit more than other people, so that you can have that settled, adult life and not have to worry too much. But there's a bit of an extreme, people can go the opposite way where, like, I don't want to be 90 sitting in, this rich penthouse going, well, this is boring, I can't move.
Yeah. You want to be Benjamin Button and end your life with an orgasm.
I love you. Yes, you do. Yeah. Well done. Well said. I said to Sonia when we first started that I want this to be very much like her and I, perfectly imperfect. And if an F-bomb falls out, I certainly didn't envisage that the O-bomb would fall out, but I love you for that. Well
you
done.
Brought it up.
I know. That's what she said. But thank you, Sonia. That's awesome. I do sort of want to keep our poddies about the half an hour mark, and we're about the 25-minute in. So thank you for our listener and our watchers staying through with us. There's a couple of other things that I want to unpack, and we can't neglect two big elephants in the room, and that is your OAM and Women in Technology being 25 years, because that longevity is bloody phenomenal. So either or both, with 5 minutes to go, can we chat about those two major topics? Because well done, girlfriend. Sure. You're sensational.
the WIT 25 years is kind of tricky for me because there was an issue. I identified what the issue was, got a great group of people around. We worked on it, and fundamentally it was, we can fix this. WITs won't be needed in 10 years' time.
Oh, my goodness.
And that was the original thinking in my head and the head of a couple of the other people there as well. So then when I get over that little bit, which maybe that's an ego bit, I don't know, and to have attended the 25-year anniversary just recently, it's just...
That's a pinch yourself kind of moment, isn't it?
It is, because it's a community now.
Yeah.
Originally it was issues, we need to work on this, we've got to set up these programs, got to do that. All those cornerstone programs we established back then are the cornerstone programs
and now it's more like recognition and awarding of contribution rather than pushing shit uphill.
Yes.
I mean, it's always going to be that, but well done. That's awesome.
Thank you. And the big thing is, even if there does get to be gender equity or any kind of equity in those fields, it doesn't matter. An organisation like WIT is still needed for its community and its collaborative kind of feel.
Yeah,
so
I love it. It's a sense of being valued and included, and it's beautiful. I love it. I'll never not be around you guys. And OAM, tell me more about that, because I don't actually think I've unpacked that with you before.
No, you haven't. Okay, so OAM, Medal of the Order of Australia, it sounds really impressive, but it's actually like the fourth one.
Oh,
it's
bullshit. Don't you downplay that.
List. Oh, there you go. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm very, very proud of it, and it is awarded for services to your country in your field, and I actually
take a moment to revel in that, mate.
Yeah, like I didn't get it for services to women. I actually got it for services in IT because I'd done a lot of other things with other kind of techie activities. So I was actually the first woman in Queensland to receive an OAM.
Wow.
Janine Bakehausen is now the second.
Yep.
And that took like 9 years or something between me and her.
Wow. So what year were you awarded?
2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And coming back to that very initial conversation we had about putting ourselves forward for applications, forgive me for my ignorance, is that a self-application?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Actually,
well, then that's commendable.
Yeah. Although it's hilarious. Well, I think it was hilarious because after I was given after I was awarded this extreme honour, like one of the highest in the country you can get, 3 different people contact me and said, "Oh, I'm so pleased my nomination."
So it wasn't just one. Sonja.
It was like, oh my goodness. So I used to make a joke that, they thought 3 people, so they better give it to her.
Oh, bullshit.
But you shouldn't do things like that.
No.
I hit myself and say I shouldn't do that. But yeah, it was hilarious. 3 different people had nominated me over a period of time, and they're like, so glad my nomination finally got through. No, it's a process where you can't self-nominate. Somebody else needs to nominate. Go to just search for Honours Australia. And you'll find the website and you can nominate. And in actual fact, more people should be nominating more women.
So what was your contribution in the IT space that you were nominated and then won that for?
Okay, so it wasn't a single contribution. Right. It was a lifetime contribution of multiple things that I had contributed to.
And specifically in the IT space. That's so cool. And imagine thinking back to being a woman in IT way back in the beginning, like, that's pinch yourself material, thinking that's just the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, Sonja, we could talk forever.
Yes.
We really could. I'm so grateful to call you a friend.
Yes.
I love you dearly. I'm so grateful for the contribution that you've made, not just to women, but women in technology and the tech space. I'm so grateful that you're here to share your story and that you're just so bloody real. You actually remind me of a female Carl Crescent. Oh, how do you say it? Dr. Carl?
That's easier.
Yeah, Dr. Carl. And I just adore you. I really look up to you as somebody in a space that I can't wait to be. And the storytelling that we have is, as I said, the stories that we need to share. I love how prepped you were with your notes. I know we didn't get through all of it. That's okay. Mate, there can be more, don't you worry, and there will be. Because, that longevity in your career in business and in any industry comes with a lot of stories. So this won't be our first and last, I can tell you that. If you're willing to come back, I'd be willing to have you again because it's amazing. But on behalf of everyone in this space, thank you. You're an absolute queen, and I know that I always say that you're royalty in IT, and you kind of go, a bit squirmy, but you are. And I adore you, and thank you for being here today, Sonja. Thank you.
You're the treasure.
Oh, still.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sonja. Again, thank you for being here. That has been Empowered with Sonja Bernhardt. We're thrilled to have your eyeballs or ears or both. And thank you very much for being here. Look forward to the next episode and stay tuned for what's next. Welcome to Empowered.